Hello there. I wanted to take a moment and talk about someone that's been a friend of the channel and a friend of mine for a long time. In fact, he was the very first person that I interviewed on the Watchman News way back in 2014. I'm talking about sustenance and covering. Now, a lot of you may not know him. He very interesting individual. He's got a very interesting take on scripture. And while, of course, I can't put myself 100% behind anybody when it comes to their interpretation of scripture, I have to say that there's a whole lot of stuff that I'm pretty confident he's got right. So, anyway, what had happened was some months ago, apparently, his name's Eric, by the way. I don't know if it's pronounced Ladnier, his last name, Eric Ladnier. I'll give you information here momentarily, and that way you'll be able to not only see his name, his spelling of his name, but if you would like to, if you could write him a letter, I'm sure he would highly appreciate that. So what had happened was apparently Eric Sustenance and Covering had invited somebody to his home. And I don't know any of the details other than apparently shortly after they got back to Eric's house, I believe from the airport, this guy allegedly attacked Eric and his wife. And so, in self-defense, Eric fatally shot this individual. So, the thing of it is there should be some pretty clear and obvious evidence that it was self-defense. And from my understanding, his wife was injured during the incident. That should be a clue, you would think. But there's other issues, and I don't know. Again, I'm sure Eric would appreciate if you'd write him a letter, drop him a line. I don't know what other things that we can do other than maybe make phone calls and ask questions. Here's the thing. Let me explain this a little bit so you understand that Eric may have a little more of an uphill battle here than what a lot of people would. So I had previously mentioned that he has some, we'll say, different beliefs, different interpretations of the scripture. That doesn't sit too well with a lot of people, especially when you live down places like Mississippi. You even have papers, or not, I say papers, but you have news outlets, and let me bring this up so you can see it. You have news outlets posting articles like this. This is from June 2nd of this year. South Mississippi man calls himself a prophet. He's charged with murder, police say. This is Eric. This is sustenance and covering that they're talking about. Says here, Harrison County man who identifies himself as a prophet on social media has been arrested on a charge of first-degree murder following the shooting death of a man in Pass Christian, Police Chief Darren Freeman said. Police made the arrest after responding to a report for a shooting at Ladnier's home on, I don't know if it's Demerel Road around 6 p.m. Wednesday and found a man dead of a gunshot wound. Harrison County Coroner Brian Schweitzer identified the deceased as Marlon Becker, 43, of Pennacock, however you pronounce that, New Jersey. After the arrest, Harrison County Justice Court Judge Brandon Lander set Ladner's bond at $1 million. The investigation is continuing. So I just find it very interesting that just like right off the top, oh, well, this is murder. No thought about self-defense at all. Not that it seems anyway. So, again, there's a lot of individuals that are going to automatically kind of look down on Eric because of his different beliefs in the Father. The other thing that you have to understand about Eric and where he lives is that when Eric bought the property that he lives at, he was a member of the Jehovah's Witnesses. That was one of the pieces of property. The Jehovah's Witnesses, they buy up a bunch of property and then they turn around and they sell it to their, members. So he was a member, and he bought a parcel of land in that particular Jehovah's Witness community. That is where he's got it, and he's had issues for as long as I've known him. He's had animals that's been killed. He's had all kinds of stuff that's been done to discourage him from staying in that area. So it's going to be an uphill battle for a couple of those reasons. And again, I find it crazy. If his wife was injured in the incident, that should be a clue. That should be a real damn big clue. There should be a lot of real big clues in all of this, but it doesn't sound like the detectives are looking for the clues. It looks like they're just looking for somebody to charge. That happens a lot. There was a guy that just got let off. Unfortunately, a 6-year-old child lost their life, hit and run accident. The police pretty quickly arrested a guy. Obviously, this is completely unrelated to Eric. The police quickly arrested a guy, threw him in jail. The guy was in jail for like 2 weeks with all these charges stemming from the death of the 6-year-old child, which is absolutely horrific, right? Turns out, and I guess the family hired a private investigator. Of course, they hired a lawyer. Somebody hired a private investigator. Private investigator went and got camera footage from different homes and stuff like that in the area. It turns out that this guy went through there, and I can't remember if it was a minute before the child was hit or a minute after the child was hit. He was taking his own child to like dance lessons or something like that, and while he's being arrested, his child's screaming and crying and confused and scared and all that stuff. Like I say, they locked this guy up for 2 weeks. They got their guy, right? And it took 9 kinds of hell in order to convince them that he wasn't the one that did it. They just want to charge somebody. They just want to be able to put that down on their paperwork that they charged somebody. They did something, right? It's ridiculous. It is ridiculous that is what our quote-unquote justice system has became, while people that were involved with Epstein can't even get their name breathed. I mean, it's absolutely mind-blowing to me, the misjustice and injustice that is in this nation. So, if you want to know more, if you want to know more, I'm going to leave the link. I'll leave the link to that article, but I'm going to leave the link to this video here. There's a video before this one. This is the part 2. I'm going to leave a link to this video in the description and the first comment, as well as a link to that article that I had showed you. It's disgusting in my opinion. And then this is the address, the information that you can use if you would like to write him. Again, I'm sure he would appreciate it. And then I don't know what we could do for him other than make some calls, ask some questions. It's important that the individuals like that investigate this and stuff like that. What's important is that they know that there are people out there watching. If they know that there are people out there watching, they're more likely to do the right thing. If nobody's watching, well, because let's face it, folks, for the most part, integrity is a thing of the past. It's so retro, it's so antique at this point. It's sad, but that's just the truth of it. And anytime you get anywhere near government, whether it's law enforcement or the presidential administration, well, integrity and credibility just goes all out the window. And that's just the way it is. Hey, I didn't do it. I'm not the one that makes the scumbags be scumbags. It's not my fault. But I'm not going to refuse to call it out just to make other people feel better about the world. Nah. It's a shit world when you can't even defend yourself without having to go to prison. That's a pretty shit world to me. Shalom.